You've tried everything to ease the weight in your chest. Meditation, advice, pretending you're fine, yet the pain lingers like a shadow. The hard truth, most of your suffering doesn't come from the world outside. It comes from within, from what you refuse to face. Carl Jung warned, "What you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate." And that's exactly what's happening. You run from discomfort, masking it with distractions, addictions, hollow relationships. But pain won't be ignored. It demands to be understood. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about confrontation. Maybe you're drowning in silence, smiling while you scream inside. Or maybe you've numbed yourself to the ache. Either way, the suffering persists because you haven't dared to look at its root. Jung spent his life mapping the soul's darkness, proving that true light comes only to those brave enough to face their shadows. If you're ready, what you discover here could change everything. You blame your pain on others, your boss, your partner, money, society. But the real agony begins when you disconnect from who you truly are. Jung called it the greatest tragedy of the soul, to live a life that isn't yours. From childhood, you were taught to fit in, to please, to silence your desires. You became a character, a puppet. Now the mirror reflects a stranger. Anxiety, guilt, exhaustion, these aren't flaws to fix. They're alarms. Your soul is screaming that you're betraying yourself. The hurt isn't from failure. It's from the lie of who you should be. Not loneliness, but the void of not knowing yourself. Every time you abandon yourself to keep the peace, the wound deepens. But here's the turning point. Pain isn't your enemy. It's a guide. Jung saw suffering as a call to transformation. Your anguish carries a message. Something inside needs attention. Think of the times you exploded over nothing, sabotaged joy, or clung to toxic patterns. That's your shadow at work. The parts of yourself you've buried: anger, fear, desire. The more you ignore them, the tighter their grip. Jung's warning. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Facing the shadow isn't about fighting darkness. It's about integration. Write down your ugliest truths. Sit with emotions you've avoided. Therapy isn't a crutch, it's a mirror. The unconscious speaks in symbols, through dreams. Fatigue, that knot in your stomach when you're living a lie. Listen, pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to rebuild you. Most people spend lifetimes numbing pain, with pills, scrolling fake smiles. But pain isn't a mistake to erase. It's a compass. Think of someone who people pleases until their body rebels with illness. Or the person stuck in cycles of rejection, never seeing the childhood wound driving them. Suffering, when faced, becomes fuel. Jung taught that suffering must be endured to the end before it can be overcome. Not by bypassing, but by walking through. Healing begins when you stop resisting. Wholeness isn't about perfection. It's about embracing all of yourself. The rage, the shame, the parts you've disowned. When you do, something shifts. You stop wearing masks. You say no without guilt. The peace you sought outside was inside all along. But this isn't the end. Jung's final challenge. Use your awakening to serve. Your pain, once a burden, becomes a bridge for others. Now the choice is yours. Awareness is worthless without action. You've heard the truth. Will you keep repeating old patterns? Or step into the life you've avoided? Comment below with the insight that hit hardest. Speak it aloud. This is your commitment not just to yourself, but to the person you're becoming. The journey doesn't end here, it begins.